Thank you and welcome. Hello everyone. My name is Masamune Kawasaki. I belong to Tokyo Institute of Technology and NTT Communication Science Laboratory. The title of our paper is Assessing Users' Mental Status from Their Journaling Behavior Through Chatbot. My presentation is divided into four main parts. Firstly, introduction. Background. In general, people who are deeply distressed prefer confining their anxiety to chatbot rather than to human. As one of the benefits of using chatbots, chatbots don't deny or judge by themselves, so making disclosure worry more comfortable. Recently, the application of chatbot in mental health is experiencing considerable growth. For example, selfie chatbot called Rebot shows that it relieves symptoms of anxiety and depression. Previous research on chatbot in mental health care has primarily focused on supporting people who have already been diagnosed with such mood disorder as depression. However, early detection of growing mental health problems is also crucial before symptoms develop, because people tend to be insensitive to their own mental status when they are distressed, and treatment typically takes longer when recovering from severe symptoms than from mild symptoms. Therefore, it would be useful if our chatbot could detect the change in mental status based on daily conversation behavior. The aim of our research is to develop a tool that estimates a user's mental status by analyzing the content that the person's daily communication with a chatbot. Previous research developed methods to estimate the degree of depression by analyzing users' writing. Firstly, some research described how people text input to social media posts considerably decrease when they get depressed. This is because people worry about getting judgmental comments from others, even if posts are anonymous. On the other hand, people can disclose negative thoughts like anxiety to a chatbot without worrying about peer pressure or retribution. So people might disclose more to a chatbot when they are experiencing mental health issues. Based on the above consideration, we pose the following question. How does the amount of words change over time in chatbot conversation when people are experiencing stress or mental health issues? Regarding the type of word used, previous works found that when people are depressed, they include more first-person pronouns in their social media posts and fewer third-person pronouns. However, in conversations with a chatbot, people naturally talk about themselves because chatbot prompts them to focus on their mood, feelings, and their experience associated with them. As a result, first-person pronouns are much more likely to appear in conversations with a chatbot than in social media posts. Since the tendency to use pronouns may differ from those found in social media, we also ask the following question. How does the use of first-person pronouns and third-person pronouns change over time in conversations with a chatbot when people are experiencing mental health issues? In addition, previous research works report that the use of negative emotion words in social media posts increased as our degree of depression increased. Similarly, some works found that depressed people use fewer positive emotion words in their writing than the non-depressed. We hypothesize that a similar tendency will be found when people talk with a chatbot. As people experience more mental health problems, the use of negative emotion words increased and the use of positive emotion words decreased over time in chatbot conversation. Finally, another previous work argued that the more depressed users are, the fewer concrete words they use in their tweet. A list is used to calculate concreteness of the word. This phenomenon could occur in the same way even when prompted by a chatbot. Therefore, we hypothesize that as people begin to experience mental health issues, their use of concrete words will gradually decrease in chatbot conversation. Here is summary so far. We made the following 2 research questions and 2 hypotheses. And in this work, by testing our 2 hypotheses, we uncover whether we can detect individuals whose mental status gradually deteriorated by analyzing chatbot conversation. In this section, we describe the method. We designed our chatbot by combining ManyChat and Google Dialogflow. Handshake icons are used because the icon needs neutrally like gender. About conversation journaling regulation with a chatbot. Basically, the chatbot asks fixed and answers fixed form. And if the user sends an unexpected question or response that cannot be handled with a fixed phrase, such entries are sent to Dialogflow, processed, and answered. In addition, if the user asks a question that Dialogflow couldn't handle, the chatbot urged participants to replace it. The system moves on to a new topic if it got stuck 3 times in the same chat. Experimental method. There were 30 participants, and we had them input daily event and mood to the chatbot for 3 weeks. The K6 test is measured twice before and after the experiment. K6 is used as our test to measure their mental health. On this work, we defined that high score for K6 was mentally bad, and low score for K6 was mentally good. And conversation journaling flow with the chatbot. Chatbot asks the mood of the day and asks why, and then encourage conversation by replying. And after, we divided the group according to the change in K6 score before and with after 3 weeks, and analyze the difference in the user's conversational content with the chatbot. And we analyze the conversation logs by 2 methods. One of 2 is LIWC. Which calculates for the following item. And the other is a list include 40,000 words, each assigned 1 to 5 points, depending on the concreteness. Using this, concrete per post and concrete per word were calculated. Then, we conduct a mixed model maneuver and Turkey was then used for post hoc analysis with 2 independent variables. In this section, we discuss experimental results. First, for research question 1, we found an important main effect of the experimental day. We also found a decrease in the mean number of words for the experimental day. This shows that the number of words decreased regardless of the change in mental status before and after the experiment. And secondly, about research question 2. Our ANOVA tests revealed a significant main effect on the experimental day on the first and third person pronouns. In addition, the increase in the average percentage of usage suggests that the use of first and third person pronouns significantly increased over time, regardless of the change in mental status before and after experiment. Additionally, to determine how much the participants talk about themselves instead of others, we calculated the ratio of first-person pronouns to third-person pronouns. If this value exceeds 1, first-person pronouns are used more than third-person pronouns. Through the same test, we found a significant main effect of experimental day for the ratio of the first-person pronouns to the use of third-person pronouns. This indicates that the increased use of third-person pronouns was much larger than that of first-person pronouns. And we have said one about the use of negative and positive emotion word. Its results show a significant main effect on the experimental day and group on the use of positive emotion word. In addition, regarding the significant effect among the 3 groups, post-hoc analysis shows that the tolerated group use of positive emotion word was significantly lower than improved groups as unchanged groups. Similarly, we identified a significant main effect of experimental day and group on the negative effect word. And these results support hypothesis 1. Finally, for concrete word, we found a significant main effect on experimental day and group. According to post-hoc analysis, overall, although our results support hypothesis 2, the use of concrete word decreased, not only for the participants whose mental condition deteriorated, but also for those whose condition improved. These results support hypothesis 2. This is the last section. As for the reason for the decrease in word, we speculate that unlike social media, where people can freely choose when to write, on the other hand, chatbots, people may feel external pressure even if they don't want to write or have nothing to say. And next, about why did the third-person pronouns increase? We infer that as they got familiar with the chatbot, they seem to talk more about the key person is the cause of the increase in the third person. Finally, about the use of concrete word decrease. It is assumed to be two reasons for the decrease in concreteness. One of two is that the tolerated group would tend to avoid talking about the detail of their feelings when they are depressed. The other is that in improved group, it might be boring for people who are experiencing good mental health. And here's conclusion. We can detect a person whose mental status have deteriorated from self-disclosure dates through chatbots. And people whose mental status have deteriorated during their study gradually use fewer positive emotion words and concrete words, and begin to use more negative emotion words when describing their daily experience and feelings to the chatbot. For future works, by combining the result of the study with counseling chatbots, people whose mental status has deteriorated can be led to the treatment phase. And studies that compare different types of chatbot or result of all study. This is end of point. Thank you for your listening.